All right, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Ogren here with MoneyMake Marketing, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the mindset that our best clients actually have when it comes to making money, and also what we've learned over the years as how we vet clients and how successful they're going to be with us. And I got this idea from one of my mentors. His name is Jeremy Haynes. He runs his own marketing agency. He's much bigger, and he's a very strong marketer. And he does different marketing. He does scaled advertising. Obviously, if you know us, we do our quick launch campaign, our cold outreach campaigns with our lead magnets. And so it's a very different type of thing, but he always advises us on clients and how to scale up and all these different types of things. And one of the things that I believe is very important is what he does to vet his clients before he takes on a new deal. And he runs them through. He actually went through his best, most profitable deals, clients that got the best results, clients that made the most amount of money with him, but also clients that he made the most amount of money with. And usually when you align based off of some of our deals structures that we've used over the years, we're pretty aligned on if we make more money, they make more money, or if we make them more money, we make more money. I'm not saying that's the deal structure we'll use for you if you're watching this and you want to become our client. But what he did is he went back through those and found the characteristics and the mindset that all these clients technically had versus the deals that weren't as profitable and the mindset and the characteristics that those clients had. And this is so important because it goes back to a business can only grow pretty much the bottlenecks, right? It grows to the bottlenecks. And most of the time, the bottleneck is people. Alex Hormozi, he's a famous business guru out there. If you're watching that, you probably know Alex Hormozi. If you don't, go check out his channel. He's got like 4+ million subscribers on YouTube. He always says, and I learned this lesson when I was acquiring businesses. I did 3 minority stake acquisitions to marketing agencies. And what I found, as soon as I got into the deal, the reason those agencies were struggling or the reason they weren't at their revenue goals that they should have been was almost always because of the founder, the one that's in control, the one that's making the decisions. That's the constraint. And so what we found, and we're looking at taking on new clients, the constraint is the actual decision maker, the one that has the current marketing strategy, the one that's making the decisions right now is responsible for what is going on in the business. And so that is very important because now if you're evaluating somebody that is, has these characteristics, or you're looking at their characteristics and you're vetting to see if what you are about to do can be successful with that person in the decision-making role that they're in. So very interesting viewpoint on this, and we agree with it wholeheartedly. And so there's a couple different characteristics when we went back and looked at our most profitable deals and also our not profitable deals and the deals that maybe we could have done better on and we just didn't do well, or the clients that we fired and the clients that we didn't like working with versus the clients that we do. And there's some steadfast characteristics that we did see. Okay, and so I'm going to be going through those in this video, okay? So if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Ogren. I'm the founder of MoneyMake Marketing, and in 2025, we collected $3.55 million in collected revenue for our clients through our campaigns. So they didn't pay us $3.55 million, so we're net profitable for all of our clients in 2025. There was actually 2 clients that we weren't profitable for last year, and they actually closed deals, and they're going to be profitable on those accounts as those accounts mature. So eventually they'll be profitable, and we're trying to get to a point in time where we're 100%. Like, we take on a client, we get them profitable with us, and as soon as they're profitable and they're making money, we can scale up, and it's just a really good relationship. So that's really ideally where we'd get to, but we've had some failed deals in the past. And so let's go through the actual mindset of a successful deal versus a deal that maybe hasn't been so successful, okay? And so there's a few things that we've actually noticed. And the very first thing, and we can vet this out on a sales call, but we can also vet this out kind of when we're just talking to the person, just getting a read for them. But as soon as we start sending stuff over across the fence, right? Agreements, emails, and stuff like that, it's speed. How fast do they make their decisions? And the reason this is so important is money loves speed. Everyone knows that, right? And so if they can make their decisions with speed, that's awesome. But it also tells us something very important. Can they make a decision without all the info? Okay, so this is so important. If by the time you have all the information to make a decision, it is lost your competitive advantage. That opportunity's gone. That investment's gone. That marketing strategy's been used. All these different types of ideas that you have, if you have not all the info and you're waiting for all the info, you're waiting for absolute certainty to do something, you are waiting and it's too late. So there has to be a little bit of this in there. And I think this speed, how fast they make decisions, but also can they actually make a decision without all the info. Those 2 components really go into speed really well. We've noticed that our best deals, the founders or the decision maker actually has this, okay? And there's an element of risk to it, but they are very familiar that they have to, in business, to maintain their edge and to actually have things that can generate a return for them. They need to try new things. They need to test new things. They need to implement new things. They need to do things that are a little bit different than the actual norm. And so this is a great way to do it. Right? So speed. And if you have all the info and you're just constantly waiting for all the info, you're never going to be anywhere close to the returns that you want. Right? You'll never have all the information. And if you keep waiting for certainty and just trying to increase your certainty level on trying to take a risk, like you'll be waiting forever. And if you wait forever, like you're never going to make a decision. So that's very important. That's the number one thing. And if you just think back on the people that are slow, they just suck. Right? They're not able to make decisions. They're not able to take risk. When they make a decision and they don't have all the info and it's a bad one and they get burned, what happens? They then retract and they stop taking those risks and making those decisions without all the information, which slows them down. And when that slows them down, now they start having a worse feedback loop and they just aren't progressing as fast in business. So you can't let that happen. You have to constantly be able to make decisions without all the information and do it quickly. That is more important than taking a long time to make a decision. Speed, speed, speed. All right. Markets are built and closed. Markets are opened and closed based on information arbitrage. Okay. And so if you know something that your actual target market doesn't, or that your competitors don't, then that usually is your competitive advantage for a little bit of time. As soon as they figure out what you're doing, they are going to do it, and then you lost your competitive edge, right? So you have to move. Number two, a growth-oriented mindset. And so what this means is, like, we're just trying to get better every single day. Get better every day. Progress is everything. Like the deals that come on board where they have a really shitty business and their cash flow sucks and whatever, and they come on board, and I've taken these deals before and I really shouldn't have, but you learn these lessons. And when you onboard these clients and they're not sophisticated business owners, they expect, as soon as you onboard with them, they expect you to make them millions and millions of dollars. And this is something that they've never done before for themselves. What happens then? That person, they don't understand that business is the element of, it's literally progress. Every single day, if you just keep getting better, eventually you're going to get to your goals. But when people aren't growth oriented and they don't understand that progress is everything, and that as soon as you keep progressing progress, that is when you stick with it. Those are the people that fail because they're looking for the outcome without the process. And I'm not saying you should not be outcome oriented. I'm just saying you have to be process oriented. Okay. And so there's going to be things, there's going to be moments in time where it's not on us. We have a client right now, and we closed a big deal for them, and we wanted them to get a testimonial, like a case study from them, like a kind of like a trust asset. If you're watching this video and us already from just our conversations, sales assets, it's really what we wanted from this particular deal, because they really didn't have a lot of credibility in the marketplace, and they still don't, but they're getting better at it. And we wanted them to get on with their newest customer and just record the call. And they booked a meeting to record the call, but they didn't show up. My client didn't show up, and this happened twice. But because our client has this mindset, they were immediately like, shit, I'm embarrassed, that sucks, but I'm gonna be better, and I'm gonna work on that, and I'm gonna figure out a way to get them back on a call and get better from it. Like, that growth-oriented mindset is everything. It's so important to have, because there's gonna be things that are not our fault, that are not your marketer's fault, that are your fault. The more ownership you can take on it, the better you're gonna be. And then once you understand that you take ownership and then you have to work and continue to grow and grow in business, that is so important, because now you're going to become a true leader for your team. Your team's going to start to do it with you, and then you're going to just get better and better, and your results are going to come from that. So that growth-oriented mindset is so key, okay? So that's number two. Number three, abundance. This is huge. So abundance, and what this means is, if you are trying to make more money and you are in a scarcity mindset where you're penny pinching, you're not gonna make more money, because you are like projecting out into the universe that money is a scarce resource for you. And if that's the case, then the universe rewards that. It's like how you carry yourself. And I don't mean to be food. What happens is, if you start trying to like penny pinch and you're canceling like these little tiny subscriptions here and there and here and there. And I'm not saying you don't want to optimize for profit, but if you're focusing on like penny pinching all these like $10 subscriptions here and there, and you're nickel and diming your marketers, and you're trying to get the best deal, and you're trying not to pay people what you think they're worth, and you're trying to just constantly strong arm people to get to increase your own margins and save money, that mindset, that penny pincher mindset, you wear it, like you put that into your blood, in your body, and you carry that around with you. And when people are talking to you, they can feel that scarcity. And like when you go out to dinner, do you order the big steak, or do you just go and get something that's budgetary? And I'm not saying you have to do this or that, and obviously the amount of money you make does depend on this, and you shouldn't make stupid, foolish bets. If you're in the game of business to make more money, and your chances are, if you're one of our clients, you probably have a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit every single year, or just for yourself an income or a couple million. Like we have a lot of bigger clients, and you cannot be a penny pincher. You have to understand that your risk tolerance has to go up. You have to make bigger bets to see bigger returns. Once you get to a higher threshold of business, your risk tolerance has to change. It doesn't have to get bigger or smaller. It just has to change on the things you're taking risk on. And so we hate the people that are trying to strong arm us on price. They ask us if we can do it for less. They try and nickel and dime us on our terms. They try and nickel and dime us on the actual duration, or they do this, that, and the other. And it's all about abundance. Because I know if they're trying to do this on me, then they aren't in an abundant mindset. If they're not in an abundant mindset, it's going to be a lot harder to actually close these deals. And I've just seen it so many times when we deal with startups. There's a company that wants to work with us right now, and they sign an agreement, and we can onboard them. Like we have a start date, we have everything. And I don't necessarily think that we actually will onboard this client because they've been dragging their feet constantly, and they're constantly asking us if we can do it for less. They're constantly asking it if they can change the terms, or like we can push back the date. And then they're constantly asking us for free work and all this, that, and the other. And I'll go through the next part of this. There's another point, which is respect, but I'll talk about that here in a second. But I can just feel on their side that they do not have an abundant mindset. They're not necessarily making a lot of money already. They're just like in this like very scarce mindset that really hurts them and constrains their ideas. So there's also another thing about that. If you're constantly thinking about saving money, then you're not thinking about making more. And and if you talk about, there's a guy, his name's Nick Huber. He talks about the best salesperson is the one that makes 40K plus per month in commissions, has like an Escalade and also a country club membership and like a family, and it has all these different types of things. They have a lot of expenses, but they make a lot of money. That's your best salesperson because they're very hungry. They have a lot of things that they needed. That makes a lot of sense. But it comes back to, is money scarce or is it not? And if you have an abundance mindset, you are going to reward us for making you a lot of money, and there's not going to be any issues about that afterwards. We also had a client that we made them like a couple millions of dollars, like right away. Boom, done. And they try and renegotiate our deal after. Come on, what are you talking about? This is the first time that they've ever seen that amount of money before in their life, and they immediately come back after the guys that created it. That always happens because everyone is in this like weird little mindset that's not abundant. And I want the guys and the girls that have this abundant mindset because they're the best partners. They're the ones where I can trust you. If we make you a ton of money, that you're going to pay us. And everybody says that they will until the time comes. You're like, wow, I'm going to have to fork over $100,000 plus to these guys, right? And that sounds crazy to you right now, and you would feel happy if we made you a couple million. But when the time comes, a lot of people, they try and renegotiate and say, it was black, but it's really blue. All these different types of things. And abundance folks, when you have a partner that truly has an abundance mindset, and they're already making money elsewhere, they already know what money feels like and they can make a lot of, that abundance mindset comes through and you're like, wow, great. And they're happy to write that check. So there's a couple different components. And I know I'm blabbering about this one, but I think the people that have that abundance mindset where money is just money and it's not everything to them, they are the best partners because not only will they pay you what you're worth, but when you make them money, they attract more of it. And the same thing goes for you. Is if you're feeling scarce with money, you have to get your pipeline dialed in. If you have a bunch of deals you can pick out of, you're not dependent on any one. You have an abundance mindset. You can pick and choose who you want to work with. And that's where we're at now. We can pick and choose who we want to work with. Abundance mindset is just a huge thing, not only with money, but also with people. Okay. And then the next one's respect. So our whole marketing strategy is around giving value without expecting anything in return. That's what a lead magnet is. That's how we get people to get on calls with us. Now, I just had a guy yesterday that's thinking about working with us ask me, I'm interested. This counted as a soft yes. I was like, okay, what does that even mean? But I still got to figure out my cash flow thing. We can maybe do it in 6 weeks. I'm like, all right, whatever. That's fine. We'll check in with you soon. We're not trying to force anybody into deals when they're not ready. That's totally fine. And we can obviously hit a home run for this guy. That's why we want to do the deal. But he then asked me, and he did it in a respectful way. If he's watching this video, I don't want it to put you on blast, but I'm going to use two different examples to bring this point home. He then asked me to go through his whole profile, give a response on all of his posts, also go through his website, change the messaging on the website, and just give my ideas on that. He's already has someone doing his organic posting in-house. He wants me to give feedback on the actual posting just to see how things have gone. Since I did a feedback on it on the initial lead magnet video. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because he's thinking about working with us, but he's still asking us to do work for free. And we've already proven our value. We've already given him an offer. We've already said this is what it's going to cost. And then asking us to do more free work with the promise of working with us, not really respectful. And it doesn't necessarily make us feel like the most valued partner in the world. It's, can you just do this a little bit more? And that deal I was telling you about earlier, that they really don't have that abundance mindset where they're like they're a startup, and you can fall into it, obviously, being a startup. They also asked me to do, they signed the agreement back last year, and we have a clause in our agreements that we can cancel anything and we can terminate whenever we want. Obviously, don't want to talk bad about people, but then they said, hey, can we do an onboarding call and you just walk us through the entire strategy, and also can you do all of this work before we actually get started so we can hit the ground running? Then comes our start date, and we actually did that onboarding call last year, and we did that. We shared our whole strategy. We actually built a list. We did everything because the agreement was signed. And now we get to the start date. They still have not executed the invoice. They still have not done the onboarding call and all of this, that, and the other. And it's really just because they were asking us to do work for free, even when we quoted them a price. And people will do this. I think it's funny, and I think there's also an element of respect. I don't want to have to say to you, look, we're not going to do that, and put a boundary up. I want our clients to actually have that boundary already set. And our best clients, they do. They actually understand. They say, and hey, look, I know this isn't in the scope of work, so we're not going to ask you to do that. They say that. And I think that's so important for your mindset when you're actually working with someone in business, to understand that just by asking for something from somebody, you should compensate them for it. There's another client that just asked us, they needed help getting a job posting up on LinkedIn. Obviously, we know LinkedIn very well. It's a part of our strategy. So we were like, we're just going to do this for you. Don't worry about it. So just send us what you want. We'll post it. We'll do it for you. They're like, great. Please send us the invoice on the hour of your time that it took to do this. And it didn't take us that long. So we didn't even invoice them. But the respect about them compensating you for this, very important. I know there's different pieces of this, but if you want to carry yourself as somebody that's going to work with somebody, and you want your marketer and the person that's going to be making your money, you want to respect them. You want to show them that you value what they have, that you value their time, and that if you ask them to do something, that you will compensate them for it. The people that don't do this and they just ask for free things and they expect free things, they're not great clients in my eyes, in my opinion. I think those people have some work to do on their mindset, and it probably comes from that scarcity mindset to begin with. But anyways, that's that. And then the last one is collaboration. So ideas need to flow, and they need to go back and forth. It's not you send us something and we just do it. It's not we send you something and you just do it. It's, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? This equals that. We're thinking this. What do you think about that? That collaboration is so crucial. It's actually the thing that makes our campaigns the most successful out of anything else, because we're able to take your experiences and in time with our experiences and then let it rock. So the collaboration piece is so crucial. I remember one of our clients, it was one of our very first deals, and we were successful on that, but after the fact. We worked with them for 2 months. We booked them one deal, and they actually closed it, but they closed it after the 2 months. They weren't happy with the volume that we had going on in those 2 months, so we just canceled the agreement, sent them their money. When we did that, and we're not going to do that for everybody, but if they weren't happy, we don't want to keep your money. If you're not happy, we're not here for that. But we got them a deal, and they closed the deal after the fact. And then they wanted us to do some more work, and we were like, nah, we're not going to do this start-stop thing. It's really weird. So anyways, they lost our respect there because they were like, maybe for good reason. But then the collaboration piece on that deal, the CEO, it's a $40 million a year company, and we have companies that are our clients that are doing way more than that, okay? And we deal with the CEO because they understand how much value we actually provide. We collaborate with the CEO because that client understands what we're doing, and they've already seen the return, and they understand that it's a very strong use of their time to constantly be collaborating with us. And so that collaboration piece is so important. That client that didn't get the results that they're looking for, and we actually refunded and we actually canceled the agreement, that particular client, as soon as we onboarded, that client literally outsourced me to their BD team, and I was just dealing with the BD team. And the BD team was much slower, less understanding of the actual strategy themselves, and I was just pushed down. And they didn't actually think about our strategy being like something that was useful for them because they weren't the ones on the actual sales calls. They didn't understand all the pain points that the entire company was having as a whole. And so when we had the CEO that didn't collaborate with us, it was very challenging to get the results that they actually wanted. We still did, and they're technically profitable on the money that they paid us, and we gave them that money back too. But we didn't have that collaboration, which I think when you're dealing with a marketer that is closing or bringing accounts to the table that could be multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures. And I'm saying 9 figures because that is actually happening right now. You have to be collaborating with them. They are the ones that it's well worth your time to be spending 15 minutes a week with them. 15 minutes a week, at the very least, just to check in. It could even be 15 minutes bi-weekly. But if you don't do this and you don't have that collaboration, I mean, your campaigns are toast. And I'll even draw a piece of toast here. Toast, put it like a piece of butter on there. That's pretty bad, but you get the idea. So anyways, this is just a couple mindset pieces that we've noticed over the past couple of days. And also as we're looking at our best deals, what our clients have usually. I'm not saying if you don't have these things, you're not going to be a good client. I'm not saying if you do have these things that you are going to be a good client. Obviously, there's probably other things as well, but these are the main mindset pieces that we're actually looking for now when we onboard new clients. So I'm Ryan Ogren. This is MoneyMake Marketing. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll talk soon. All right, see ya.